Season 3 of Invincible opens with a more jovial approach following the darker descension of Season 2. It starts with a training montage that I personally always wanted to see. One of the fondest memories of watching Dragon Ball Z was Goku's training montage. The best parts of Rocky were always the build-up to the fight. It's parts like this that inspire us and make us want to try harder in our own training. It continues on with familiar territory, which is a good thing when it comes to Invincible. It's violent and brutal, heartwarming and emotional at another moment, then darkly humorous at another point. It manages all of this without feeling forced or too in your face. However, it doesn't take long to slip into the problem which is present throughout the whole series, and that is the consistency of power levels. This may be confusing, but I will try to explain. Mark's power equals X, and he is able to defeat power levels A, B, C, and D. However, in another scene, power level Y is able to defeat Mark. But then, power levels A, B, and C, and D are able to go toe-to-toe with power level Y, which doesn't make any sense. And it doesn't play in a rock, paper, scissors kind of way. It's raw power versus raw power. If I were to simplify my confusing explanation, I would say that sometimes Mark's power levels are portrayed like Superman, and later that episode is portrayed more like Captain America. This applies to his strength, endurance, and speed. They portray him as incredibly fast one moment until they don't want him to be, and he slowly flies to where he needs to be, a little too late. If you haven't already noticed it, keep an eye out and you'll easily see it. Despite this, Mark, along with all the other characters, are very likeable. The likeability of the characters often leads you to forgive questionable scenes, like the inconsistent power levels or when someone punches and uses their hand perfectly, mere moments after it was clearly broken. Speaking of, the premiere features a flashback. I didn't think that a prequel-esque flashback was something that people wanted, but after seeing it, I wouldn't be surprised if people wanted much more. It gives us some insight into the mind of a long-standing character, and I think I speak for everyone when I say that more would be a good thing. It makes you think of how many interesting characters there are and how the show does a great job of making the audience want to know more about almost all of them. Now, there's a bit of a problem in the world with shows making spin-offs about characters that nobody particularly cares about or wants, so it's a shame to see characters like the ones in Invincible not get more time. Hopefully, in the future, they have more projects like Atom Eve. There's quite a bit of generated drama, as there always has been, but I think the story allows for it to occur in a slightly natural way. But sometimes it does feel hard to see how a character can become so spiteful of another character in such a short space of time. It does, however, keep you guessing as to which direction the story is going. It also makes a good effort to have two characters you like with opposing views argue their viewpoints, and make it really difficult to pick one side completely. They follow up with previous characters and continue several secondary storylines into Season 3, such as Rick or Atom Eve and her construction incident in Season 2, which I thought was ridiculous, but they are developing it in a way that would be logical for a character that had followed that path. Episode 3 starts a little slower and takes some time to get the gears back up to the paces of episodes 1 and 2, but the break isn't entirely unwelcome. It is very much a middle episode, but it gets more exciting as it goes on. Overall, if you like Season 1 and 2, then there's a 99.9% chance that you'll like this Season 2. It might not be perfect, but it's certainly better than almost everything out there at the moment, sitting comfortably at an 8 or a 9 out of 10. But I wouldn't be surprised if people were to go as low as a 6 or a 7 or as high as a 10.